And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. We are alive. Welcome to Benchley Night. It is Sunday, the 19th of November, 2023. Isn't that amazing? Last time I checked, it was about 1994, I think. And now it is not. Anyway, it's a delight to be here. It's a delight to be here at Benchley Night. Thank you all for tuning in. And we have a few people to thank because today's liberal snowplowing do-gooder beneficiary was the Save the Manatees Fund. Save the Manatees, ladies and gentlemen, a charity set up by the late Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett, the only pop singer ever named after a food service presentation manner. Jimmy Buffett, whose music was not exactly to my taste. He was a very good man, though. He was apparently a very, very good man. And he really liked manatees. And who doesn't like manatees? Gentle sea cows, coming and going and wishing no one harm. Not being so good at avoiding propellers and stuff. Not gonna be so good as humans continue to screw up the earth. But, well, we have them. We love them. We love our manatees. Oh, the huge manatees. Oh, the huge manatees. All right, a few people to thank, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, this is with the new faceplant, who may or may not actually accurately report who has donated, who hasn't donated. I asked people who donated directly to the charity to just message me. No one did today, so I don't know if anyone did. If not, these are the names that I have. And I'll throw in anonymous just in case someone gave directly to the charity and didn't tell me or something screwed up. Anyway, the people who care about the huge manatees. Ms. Martha Rowley. Ms. Terry Hudson. Mr. John Wilhelm. Ms. Sarah Ovenden. Mr. Dave Scholes. Mr. Rick Gavotsky. The wonderful Kelly Newman Milliken, who this spring, ladies and gentlemen, or this January, February, when I was struck down with COVID. She stepped forward. She's my next door neighbor. She doesn't like the band Crack the Sky. Her husband and I are big Crack the Sky fans, but she isn't. But aside from that, she's okay, ladies and gentlemen. When I was struck down with COVID, she stepped forward with a dose of Paxlovid she had been given. And I took the Paxlovid and I had very, very few effects from the COVID. She, on the other hand, has had quite an adventure with COVID at various times, but got it last week and thank goodness posted negative today. So let us welcome Ms. Kelly Newman Milliken back to the land of the living. Oh, my friend Meg Miser out there in Taos, New Mexico, dealing with Fergus the dog and Tess the cat. And Fergus is a challenging dog. Thank you, Meg Miser. And out there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where he's hoping the next year is going to be the year for his beloved Pittsburgh Pirates. My very, 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 very tall cousin, excellent gnat hunter, his wonderful wife, Elise, and their little tiny dog, Ginger. Thank you. So it is time for some Robert Benchley, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Benchley, a good man gone too soon. He would have gone by now anyway. It'd be like 140, but he was a funny man, and he had a social conscience, and I think the world was a little much for him. Fortunately, tonight's readings are not heavy at all. There's no depressing social message in them. Oh, I see over here, right there, it says Charlie Hunter's reasonably fine art talk. I'm supposed to take that away before I do the Benchley nights, and I forgot to. Oh well. Tonight we're going to have two short Robert Benchleys. My very, very tall cousin says, "Let's go Bucks." So I guess Bucks is the Buccaneers, oh yeah, Buccaneers, so Pirates, yes. So that must be what people in Pittsburgh call their sweet but doomed baseball team. Let's go Bucks. We're going to have two short Robert Benchleys tonight. First, and this is from after 1903, which was given to me by one of my students at a painting workshop, who gifted me about 6 Robert Benchley books. Clean Sport. Well, looking at watch, the International Canary Show at the Crystal Palace in London ought to be over just about now. I wonder how the American contingent came out. If pluck and determination had anything to do with the result, they won by a comfortable margin. For a gamer bunch of canaries I never saw that were assembled here in New York last month, preparatory to sailing for London. They were in the pink at that time, and the only danger was that by the time they got abroad, they might possibly be overtrained. An overtrained canary, as you know, is worse than no canary at all. The occasion on which I saw them working out was the 8th Grand National of the Empire Caged Bird Association. And what a time that was. Bird seed all over the place. It was 4:30 in the morning when I got home, and even then I could not sleep. At that time, a member of the show committee was quoted as saying, as well as he could be heard above the din, "American birds have improved 100% a year for the past 5 years. Our object is to produce birds here better than those produced in Europe, and while I don't say we'll win, we can equal anything they show." Well, now, that is the spirit that turns out good canaries, and don't you forget it. I wish there'd been someone like that to put the old pep into canaries when I was a boy. In my day, canaries thought they were doing all right if they kept upright on the perch without slipping off every few minutes with one foot. I didn't ask the member of the committee. He wasn't a canary himself, at least I don't think he was. Just what events our American birds were specializing in for the London meet, but I suppose they had to be proficient in such old I suppose they had to be proficient in such I suppose they had to be proficient in such old standbys as hopping up and down, twittering, tweeting, seed spilling, and trapeze work. I haven't thought it would be a dirty trick, and therefore seriously considered trying it, to build a stationary swing in a canary's cage, one which would move neither forward nor backward, but which looked like a regular swing. Just how would a canary show that it was trying to push it back and forth and not succeeding? Would its eyes bulge? Would it perspire? Would it be soar? Of course, I've always had a theory in which I can find no supporters, that canaries and other songbirds are always soar, and that what we call a song is really swearing in bird language. The louder they sing, the soarer they are. And the fact that nobody ever does anything about it only infuriates them the more. What right have we got to take it for granted simply because a bird is making a shrill series of sounds that it is happy? It is a typically blind Pollyanna human trait, this ascribing emotion to dumb animals about which we know nothing. Someday, I bet that some canary will finally burst into speech in the middle of a particularly frantic song and say, "For the love of Mike, don't stand around there smirking like that. I feel awful." But this is not winning our canaries' battles in London. Whatever the outcome of the show, the least we can do is meet them at the boat when they come home and let them know that we have been thinking about them. We might even turn them loose and let them fly wherever they want to for one night, so long as they didn't break training. They probably would all head straight for the birdhouse in the park. That's the end of that, Robert Benchley, ladies and gentlemen. We have one more. We have one more because it is only 7:59 p.m. and I blathered a bit at the beginning. So we have one more. Are you ready? The common language. I need to wet my whistle, ladies and gentlemen. It's very hard reading these. The common language. It's a funny saying, but I'd almost forgotten about Esperanto. I thought it was part of the Bull Moose Parties program, but evidently some people still set quite a lot of store by it. For there's just been an Esperanto Congress in New York City, the 28th, and the boys seem to have had quite a lot of fun at it. But then I suppose a bunch of Esperantists can have a good time pretty much anywhere. All that I remember about Esperanto is it was supposed someday to be the universal language, like the language of the fan. But as almost everyone I know still seems to be sticking to English in one form or another, and as once in a while I hear some Frenchmen speaking what I take to be French, I had more or less put Esperanto out of my mind, a process involving perhaps a minute and a half. But the Esperantists have been plugging ahead like mad, making up words and reading aloud to one another. They read aloud to each other at the convention, and it was voted that Shakespeare sounds better in Esperanto than he did in English. The only dissenting voice was from a beginner who apparently didn't understand the question. One of the recitations at the Esperanto class day exercises was a translation of the old poem which begins, "I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I know not where." Here it is in Esperanto. Mi pafis sagon en la saron, ni skias ki phales tiron. Now, I'd always thought the idea of Esperanto was to combine the best features of all languages, to the end that everybody might learn to speak the same language without all that monkeying around with pocket dictionaries. But from the looks of Key Guy Fellas Terron, however, no nation is going to get a break. Well, what it means, when Esperanto is finally made the universal language, we shall all have to go back to school again. This time, I'm going to try to get a room overlooking the campus, and I am not going to spend so much time at the mandolin club. I'm going to try really hard to learn something. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that is our Robert Benchley for tonight. We'll be back a week from now. We'll be back a week from Sunday for another Robert Benchley. Until then, you take good care. You take good care. You don't let the craziness of the world get you down. Learn an Esperanto poem or two. Maybe that will help. All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you again. Take good care.